how about this? Fail more. Fail more. That's our thought for the day. Okay, let's close in prayer. There's my advice. Go fail more. Yeah, pretty much. It is, but let's unpack it. Why would your best friend here, I mean, I'm for you guys. I want you to succeed in life. Why would I tell you to go fail more? Because that's the way we succeed, is by failing more. Well, that makes no sense. Of course it makes sense when we unpack it. I remember I was doing an event one time, live event, and we always have Q&A from the audience, and it was about parenting and how to raise, you have to pick these titles. I'm the worst title person in the world, but whoever picked it, how to raise successful kids or how to raise happy kids or whatever it is. And so this lady, she asked me a question from the floor. She goes, okay, if there's one thing that you could tell parents, just one thing on how to raise a successful kid, what's the one thing you would tell them? And I said, I would tell them there's no one thing, and don't grow up and ask stupid questions like the one thing. I go, there isn't one thing. I mean, let me ask you, which one thing do you want? Air, food, or water? Name one. There's some things they're all actually essential, but there are a handful of things that really rise to the top. I mean, there's no doubt about that, but it's not one. So she said, but if you did one thing, and she kept hammering me about one thing, give me the one thing, which is kind of funny because we do a daily email, name one thing to boundaries.me subscribers. But she said, if there's one thing that you could, I said, okay, if I want to raise successful kids, the one thing that I would do is I would teach them how to lose. And she goes, well, I don't want my kids to lose. Why would you want to teach your kids how to lose? You're trying to teach them how to be successful. Wait. Why would I want to teach them how to lose? I said, because they will. Because they will. And because it's going to happen. Then the question is not, do we teach them to lose or not to lose? If they get out of bed and do something, they're going to lose sometimes. But here's the difference. You want to teach them how to lose well. How to lose well. Because losing well is one of the food group items to becoming successful. I don't know what the right number is. You could Google this, but it seems to me, I remember in researching this one time, that it's like a couple of million times that a toddler will fall down before they learn to walk. I think that's the number. If it's not, it's something close to it. Who cares what it is? It is a lot. What if you said to your 14-month-old, when you prop them up for the first time, now don't fail. I want you to walk to the grocery store. Don't fail. It would never happen. They'd never learn to walk. So the question is, how to fail well? Well, there's a number of components to this, but the very first one is we need to describe and learn to think about failing as a positive thing in a learning path, because you're not going to get it right when you're first learning to do something. So why do I want you to fail more? Because it means I want you to try more. And if you're not interpreting failure as I'm so bad, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I knew I couldn't do it. See, this is not for me. This is for other people. See, life never works. Everything. And here's what we know about successful people. They do not interpret failure in any of those ways. when they fail, which they do, when they fall down, they ask the question, oh, what caused that? It's never about them. Oh, I'm a bad walker. Oh, I guess I'll never reach a goal. Oh, I guess walking is for other people. Oh, you have to be born with walking or inherit it from, somebody you can't learn on your own. Or. No, that's not what. There's nothing even in it about themselves. I mean, they don't get little affirmation cards saying, I'm a good walker before they ever try to walk and put 3x5s and little post-it notes. You're a good walker. You're a good walker. You're a good walker. No, they just take the risk out of it and they go learn to walk and they become a good walker. And then somebody says, can you walk? Yeah, I'm a pretty good walker. That's how life works. But if you're not free to take the step, then we're not free to learn. We talk sometimes. I love, by the way, guys, the dating calls. I love you guys in your dating calls. There's so much fun in the dating thing. So all you singles, please keep calling. I love your calls. I wrote a couple of books. We have actually a webinar, how to get a date worth keeping, boundaries.me/dating to find that. I just love it. There's so much drama. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. What happens with your buddies out there in their dating lives. It's so cool. But whenever people talk about, they're stuck in their dating lives, I got to ask them, so how much are you getting rejected? And they go, well, rejected. I don't like rejection. I go, well, it's never going to happen if you don't get your rejection numbers up. You got to be asking people, right? And it's just like, if you don't go try, well, it's not going to happen. But here's the deal. If we interpret failing or a bad outcome or not the outcome we desired as something about ourselves, where I'm bad, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, I don't have, all of that stuff, it's not about us. It's about learning. So let's pick some areas in your life. I'm going to crack a code here for you. Take anxiety, for example. I can give you an absolutely proven, research-based, proven over and over and over and over formula for overcoming anxiety states or overcoming panic attacks or fears. We treat this all the time. Go check out the webinar, boundaries.me/anxiety. There is so much research on how to do this. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it's simple. It doesn't mean it's immediate. But by and large, vast majority, we know kind of what to do. So I could tell you, okay, here's what I want you to do on day one. And you're going to go out and do that. And it's not going to help. In other words, you're not going to be all of a sudden not anxious anymore. Now, if you were of the not failing well category, you might say, oh, well, see, that didn't work. That's not going to work. I tried it. I'm not good enough, or it's not good enough, or whatever. But here's the trick. That's like putting a seed in the ground and watering it and going out the next day and there's no tomato. And you go, well, I guess planting doesn't work. Oh, yes, it's working. But it has to begin to grow the neurological patterning and circuitry that actually changes behavior and rewires the system. There's stuff happening underneath the dirt that you can't even see. And that's why if we interpret lack of a perfect result in the beginning from a first step as something bad, then we're never going to grow a plan, or you're never going to grow a relationship. And couples get into conflict. Okay, couples that have conflict, listen to me. Parents that have a conflict with your kids, listen to me. Friends that have a conflict with you, listen to me. And you've been in this stuck thing. Why don't you sit down and say to that person, we talked about this the other day. We argued and it didn't turn out well. You remember that? Yeah, you remember it. Why don't we practice? Why don't we try again? And let's look back at what happened last time at our failure to resolve this. Let's each think of, what did I contribute that made that not go well? And someone I'm gonna take 60 seconds to think about, what did I contribute that didn't make that go well? And I want you to do that. And then in 60 seconds, let's kind of review. Let's do the game day, or the day after the game film. Let's watch it, the game film. And so they would come back and say, you know what? I think part of why it failed, was I interrupted you when you were trying to tell me how you felt. Or, you know what? I kind of got mad and I raised my voice, and I can see what I contributed. See, we're looking at failure and we're learning from it. And so, okay, I'm going to try it again. This time I'm not going to interrupt you. This time I'm not going to, do that. Well, a couple of things. If we hadn't tried it and we're afraid because we failed, if we hadn't tried it, we wouldn't have failed. We couldn't learn. And if we tried it and failed and looked at it and failed, and now because we failed, not going to try it again, we'll never get there. But if we view failure as a step to getting there, we'll get there. We'll get there. A little step at a time. So, a couple of practical tips about this. Don't judge yourself when you fail. Accept yourself. One of my favorite verses: accept yourself just as God in Jesus, it says, just as God in Christ has accepted you. See, that's how it says, accepting others just as God in Christ has accepted us. Well, just in the same way, we can't reject ourselves, which means get on our case, tell ourselves we're idiots, all that kind of stuff when you fail. That's not what he does. One of my favorite verses, he says he's perfecting everyone that he's already perfected. In other words, when y'all know what the gospel is, a lot of you, most everybody knows what, they might not believe it, but the deal is, we're like, guilty of a bunch of stuff, and we say, Jesus, forgive me, and then he forgives us. And when he says this, he forgives us everything. And then we keep living, and we're forgiven, but we're still imperfect. And so we're learning, because we're forgiven, now we're free not to feel bad, but to feel sorry and inspired and motivated to get better. Well, same kind of thing. You've got to realize that I'm going to accept myself, even though I'm not going to get it perfectly, and I'm going to keep doing it until I get better. And that's why I want you to fail more, because if you fail more, I remember when Olivia, my daughter, was our oldest daughter, was little. She was such a go-getter. She would just eat life for breakfast. We have to almost tie her down. But she'd try something and fall on her face, or and she'd get back up, she'd go, again, and we had this joke, Olivia, it's like she crashes the bike again. And I loved that quality, because it's like, what's wrong with you? I'm just learning. So look at something today. What have you been waiting to take the first toddler step on? Because you're afraid it might not go well. Because you're afraid you might make a mistake. Somebody might not like it. Might be an utter failure. So what? Go learn.